Rain poured relentlessly against the glass walls of the towering corporate building, blurring the city lights into streaks of gray. Employees hurried through the lobby without looking back as security escorted a quiet man carrying a small cardboard box filled with the only belongings left from 8 years of loyal service. His hands trembled, not from anger, but from disbelief. Only minutes earlier he had been one of the company's most trusted workers. Now, without warning, without evidence, and without even a chance to defend himself, he had become another forgotten face walking into an uncertain future. What no one inside that building realized was that this heartbreaking injustice was about to change not only one man's life, but the destiny of an entire company. Sometimes the truth hides behind silence, waiting for the one person brave enough to uncover it. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, honesty, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Speaks. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories to people around the world. Ethan Carter had never dreamed of becoming wealthy. He only wanted stability. Growing up in a small town where every dollar mattered, he learned early that dignity was earned through hard work. His father had spent decades repairing old machines in a factory until his health failed, while his mother worked long hours cleaning offices to keep food on the table. They taught Ethan that a person's character would always be more valuable than money. Those lessons stayed with him long after childhood faded into adulthood. When Ethan was 24, he found work at the prestigious logistics company known as Hamilton Distribution Group. The company employed hundreds of people, and competition for every position was fierce. Ethan arrived early every morning, stayed late whenever necessary, and never complained when difficult assignments landed on his desk. His supervisors praised his discipline, and coworkers admired his willingness to help anyone who struggled. While others rushed home the moment the clock struck 5, Ethan often remained behind, making sure shipments were organized correctly because he believed mistakes affected real families waiting for important deliveries. Outside the office, life demanded even greater strength. Ethan's wife, Sarah, worked part-time at a neighborhood library while raising their 10-year-old daughter, Lily. Lily had been diagnosed with a heart condition when she was only 6 years old. Although treatments had helped, regular medical appointments and expensive medication remained part of everyday life. Every paycheck Ethan earned was carefully planned before it even arrived. Rent, groceries, electricity, school supplies, and hospital bills left little room for anything else. Yet despite their financial struggles, their tiny apartment overflowed with warmth, laughter, and love. Every evening Ethan read bedtime stories to Lily before helping Sarah prepare for the next day. They celebrated birthdays with homemade cakes instead of expensive gifts. Weekend outings usually meant visiting the public park rather than amusement parks or shopping malls. Their happiness came from being together, not from possessions. Neighbors often remarked that although the family owned very little, they smiled more than people who seemed to have everything. At work, however, not everyone appreciated Ethan's honesty. Several managers quietly disliked employees who refused to participate in office politics. Ethan never spread rumors or tried to impress executives by taking credit for someone else's work. He believed integrity spoke louder than ambition. That attitude earned him respect from many coworkers but also resentment from those who valued power more than principles. One manager in particular, Victor Reynolds, viewed Ethan as an obstacle. Victor had recently been promoted despite lacking experience. His impressive presentations concealed careless decisions that frequently cost the company thousands of dollars. Whenever mistakes happened, he searched for someone else to blame before executives noticed his failures. For months Victor manipulated reports, altered records, and pressured employees to remain silent. Most feared losing their jobs, so they obeyed. Ethan, however, quietly documented inconsistencies whenever he discovered them. He never intended to expose anyone publicly. He simply believed records should remain accurate. One evening, While reviewing shipping documents, Ethan uncovered evidence that several expensive deliveries had disappeared from company inventory. The paperwork had been modified using Victor's management credentials. Ethan assumed it was an administrative error and respectfully submitted a confidential report requesting clarification. That single decision unknowingly placed a target on his back. Within days, Victor realized someone had questioned the missing inventory. Panicked that an investigation might reveal years of dishonest practices, he acted quickly. Using his authority, he manipulated internal files to make it appear as though Ethan had authorized unauthorized transactions. Digital timestamps were altered. Reports vanished. Witnesses were pressured into silence. By the time senior management reviewed the accusations, the fabricated evidence seemed overwhelming. No one asked Ethan for an explanation. No one checked whether the documents were genuine. No one considered that the employee with 8 spotless years of service deserved the benefit of the doubt. Instead, they called him into a conference room. The meeting lasted less than 10 minutes. A termination letter was placed on the table. Security was instructed to escort him from the building immediately. His employee identification card stopped working before he even reached the elevator. As Ethan stepped into the rain carrying the small cardboard box, hundreds of memories rushed through his mind. Every late night, every holiday shift, every weekend sacrificed for the company suddenly felt meaningless. He wasn't crying because he had lost a job. He was crying because his honesty had been repaid with humiliation. Back at home, Sarah instantly recognized the expression on his face before he uttered a single word. The unopened lunchbox still in his hands told the entire story. She quietly embraced him while Lily looked on with frightened eyes, sensing that something terrible had happened. The following weeks became a relentless struggle. Ethan applied for dozens of jobs, but every interview ended the same way. Potential employers politely explained that his previous termination raised concerns. Some never returned his calls. Others rejected him within hours. Bills piled up on the kitchen table. Savings disappeared. Hospital expenses continued without mercy. Sarah sold family heirlooms inherited from her grandmother. Ethan quietly cancelled his own health insurance so Lily could continue receiving. Yet even in hardship, Ethan continued helping others. He shoveled snow from an elderly neighbor's driveway without accepting payment. He volunteered at a community food bank whenever time allowed. When another unemployed father confessed he couldn't afford school supplies, Ethan shared the little money he had left. Those around him couldn't understand why someone carrying so much pain continued showing kindness to strangers. What Ethan didn't know was that his compassion had caught the attention of someone extraordinary. Across the city lived Alexander Whitmore, a self-made millionaire known for transforming struggling businesses into successful companies. Unlike many wealthy executives, Alexander believed financial reports never revealed the true character of an organization. Whenever considering an investment, he often visited anonymously, observing how employees treated one another without realizing who he was. Recently, Alexander had become interested in acquiring Hamilton Distribution Group. The company appeared profitable on paper, but something about its financial statements felt strangely inconsistent. Hidden losses, irregular inventory records, and unexplained employee turnover suggested deeper problems. Rather than relying solely on accountants, Alexander decided to investigate personally. One cold afternoon, while driving through a modest neighborhood after visiting a local charity, Alexander noticed a familiar face helping an elderly woman carry heavy grocery bags through the rain. The man's clothes were worn, and his shoes showed signs of countless miles walked. Yet despite obvious hardship, he smiled with genuine kindness. Curious, Alexander asked one of his assistants about the man. The answer would become the beginning of a truth powerful enough to expose corruption, restore justice, and remind everyone that kindness is never wasted.